Okay, another episode, and I'm back in Ireland, kind of. I got my guys Marcus and Dexter from their last stop. Greetings, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us on, Mo.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming on board, man. I really appreciate what y'all do with their last stop. The atmospheric black metal, the depressive black metal is, I'm a huge fan of it. So, and Tommy had mentioned y'all whenever he went to Ireland, obviously, and told me a lot of great things. And what I've heard, I mean, I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, we're going to have a lot to talk about today, I guess, then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yes. So, man, let's just dive right into it, man. Like, how did y'all get their last stop going?
So, it was what, 2023 was officially when we had it, like, start as their last stop. But me and Marcus had been playing together in a predecessor band for a couple of years before.
Since 2021, I joined in April that year.
So, still relatively recent, but we'd only just picked up playing music, both of us, only a few, only about a year before joining the bands.
Really?
So we learned how to play our instruments by playing in a band together.
Dude, that's amazing because I'm not in a band per se. I mean, but that's basically how I jumped in it. Head first is started playing and started recording music. Just to hear the shit that I wanted to hear. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As terrible as it is.
Well, it's you have a reason to practice. Then, I mean, I would never really see the point of myself trying to learn an instrument just for the sake of it.
Right.
Trying to learn to create something, at least for
Exactly.
myself as a motivation, was part of the main reason for starting
100%, dude.
in the first place.
So, so you, Dexter, do you are like the chief songwriter for their last stop?
We all contribute bits. Like what we do with a lot of the songs is usually I'll start with a riff, and then we'll bring it to the rehearsal room and try to build up a song together quite organically from that. I'd say we all start the riffs by ourselves, but it's really in the rehearsal room where they kind of form into full songs. So we're regularly rehearsing bands and write songs that way.
Yeah. So, why immediately go into depressive, suicidal black metal like from the gate?
Um, suppo-
I'd say it's because of like the raw emotion. It's such like a good outlet to just vent anything that feels shit in life.
Yeah.
And it's not like a destructive tendency. It's creating something beautiful out of experiences that could have led to harm.
Yeah, I understand that, man. And a lot of people don't know how to navigate those emotional storms, and unfortunately, some people turn to drugs, some turn to violence or something like that, man. I'm just glad that like people like-minded, people like yourself and have that creative outlet and to put those emotions in check where they have to, and where it's in a riff, where it's in a song. So my hat's off to y'all.
Yeah, so it's the way of self expression. But I'd say also for me, a big part of it was just the music that really just speaks to me the most. Music that feels the most real a lot of the time when it comes to like metal and stuff. There's a lot of bands just for me that I just would never be able to get into because they don't have there's not emotion. Like we're both into like a pretty
Yeah.
wide range of music, but for me, all music I listen to needs to feel like someone's putting something out there. It's not just another riff and another song. It's a message which is communicated through riffs and through song structures and vocals and everything together. As a final finished product.
Well, I mean, I really love the finished product here, man. I've been like jamming y'all guys all week long
Oh,
in
I'm glad you
in,
like.
in preparation of this conversation we're gonna have, and it's just amazing, man. You got the top four songs on this EP. It just hits from top to bottom. Like it checks all the boxes as far as what I'm into, and in the grain of black metal. I mean, I was just uh so I guess my question, is just how did y'all, and whoever wants to go first, you can. like to hear both of your stories. Since y'all here, uh, you know, tell me about the early beginnings of your youth, where like music became an influence, like this heavy presence in your life, and how'd you want to become a musician? As of like 2 years ago.
I mean, I'll let you start that one, Marcus.
So funny enough, I'd say for about like the first like 10 years of my life, I had no interest in music whatsoever.
Oh
It's
wow.
like sort of I had like the music my parents were listening to growing up. It's like my mother would have been a big fan of ABBA and my father a big fan of Scooter. And then the first band I actually properly got into would have been Green Day, and then I I had an Xbox 360, so I played Green Day Rock Band on that. Then that eventually evolved into me getting the mainline games out of the series, and I started my metal journey because Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden was in one of the games,
Oh
and
yeah.
as soon as I heard that, I sort of went from Iron Maiden, delved into the deep end of death metal to like Cannibal Corpse, Black Dahlia Murder, and then sort of found that black metal was what most resonated with me. But I love my tech death. I love my brutal death. I'm a fan of most types of metal, I'd say.
What are the tech death metal bands that you like to enjoy?
Oh, I like First Fragment. I've really been digging Defeated Sanity, their new album, favorite album of the year by far for me last year.
Yeah, see, if anyone followed along this podcast that I've been having for the past 3 years, I don't mention a whole lot of tech death because it's one genre that I never like dove headfirst into. Um, like the real obvious choices for me is stuff I've leaned into the last couple of years, like Vitriol, and things that in bands of like that. Um, Tech death is very interesting. The stops, the breaks, the tempo changes, and the breakdowns. It's definitely something to watch live, and like man, it's really amazing to see these musicians just do what they do on stage, man. With whether it be one guitarist or two, it's really really amazing to see.
It's a very different kind of experience thing to some other types of music, just because it's so technical, so much going on that you have to use your brain a lot more. I think, but other types of metal, you can sometimes just groove along with it. And other times, I'm watching these like super complex bands in like progressive or technical, whatever. It feels a lot more like wow, you have to really just lock in to try to understand everything that's happening, or else for me, it just kind of sounds like squiggles. But when you actually break it down and say, "Whoa, this is what they're doing. This is really cool."
And I'm really envious of their pedal boards. I mean,
Oh yeah.
some of these guitar players could get really, really, um, I guess bougie. That's what we say over here with their pedal boards. Um, Kyle Rasmussen comes to mind from Vitriol because I mean he has these huge. I don't know how big, but they're at least 36 pedals, 36 to 40 pedals on a board. It's wild.
I can respect the art of it, but at the same time, I think how much better is it going to make you sound though to someone who's got a few pedals figured out and a really cool tone?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
some of the coolest bands you see just plug straight into the amp and have great sound just because of how they play their instruments.
Yeah.
Um, but it's definitely something that people can really express themselves through as well. Even if how much of it actually becomes audible a live show varies a lot depending on stuff like venue, mixing, sound engineer, and all that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
you got I mean, a really good sound engineer is gonna go a whole long way, that's for
yeah,
sure. Because
um,
if you don't have the proper mindset or the skill set, uh, with your sound engineer, I mean, it could sound it can go to hell in a handbasket real fast.
Yeah.
I think especially if you're playing a type of music that they're not really used to hearing, it's a bit of a gamble. I think, but quite often I think kind of black metal and atmospheric music does lend itself quite well to being played in live venues because the extra reverb from the venue
Yep.
usually complements the music rather than hinders it. Whereas some music is meant to sound more put together. When you put too much reverb sound from the venue on that, it can become muddy and you lose the details. I think quite often for black metal, it doesn't. It's usually a benefit for live.
We're less befuddled by technical difficulties than bands of different genres would be.
Right. Right. So Marcus, when you started digging into black metal, what were some of the bands that really influenced you and made you like really receptive to that genre?
Oh my god, I have a really wide variety because I like all strains of black metal.
The man's an encyclopedia.
So I love the classics. Like obviously I got into Burzum and Mayhem second. The first sort of black metal band I got into, I'd say, would have been Sayor from Scotland. Fucking amazing band. And
They
then
are amazing. I'm sorry to cut you off. Sayar was introduced to me by Tommy, and then later with Anise with Darwin.
Oh, Darwin, yeah. From Belfast.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm sorry.
amazing band.
Yeah, we're going to be catching them next week at Sporting Winterfilleth in Dublin. So it's going to be an exciting one for us.
I wish I could be there for that. I really wish. I mean, that sounds like a really good time.
It's a long way from the States, though.
I thought I'd know it, man. I usually just like do my my one trip to Oslo, annually, and that's about it for Inferno Festival.
Yeah, I heard you and Tommy talking about that on one of the other podcasts.
Oh yeah, we actually Tommy and I met up. We stayed together at an Airbnb in Bergen or Beyond the Gates.
Oh, okay. The festival always has great lineups. I'd love to go one day.
It's always amazing.
It's amazing, man. Definitely a must for any black metal or any extreme metal fan, because they put together a really diverse lineup for sure.
Yeah. The one that we frequent is Brutal Assault in the Czech Republic.
It's so good.
That's a must for me. I need to check that out as well.
So even there's always great lineups, but even putting the lineups aside, the festival setup is just brilliant.
And
really,
the lineup this year is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, how many stages they normally have for Brutal Assault?
5, isn't it? 4, 5.
So I'd say sort of like they have 5 stages, but there's like sort of the 2 main stages which are right beside each other. Mm-hmm. So as soon as one band finishes, the next one is set up ready to start.
There's no waiting between sets.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's the kind of shit I like to go to, because I know some, like here in the States, some festival organizers don't have their shit together. And like they're just kind of like utilizing maybe 1 to 2 stages. So it's like you got to pick your poison, and like, if you really want to see one band, but like you got something else really cool about to happen, you got to stop in the middle of the set, travel to the other venue side or whatever, and go catch another cool band. But anyway, neither here nor there. Dexter, I want to hear about you, man. Like, give me all the glory details of how you came up in music. And
it's actually quite funny when Marcus mentions his one, because mine has a lot of similarities. So again, no interest in music really as a kid. Got parents' music. Had a few CDs around that were quite influential in growing up for me, like some older ones like David Bowie, but then newer stuff as well, like the Gorillaz.
Oh yeah,
hip hop thing as well. Were something, ones I remember from being a kid. But into my teens, still didn't really understand metal. There were people who listened to metal in my school, people I was friends with, but it just never really clicked with me in my early teens. I was listening to like more folky kind of stuff at the time, indie folk, this kind of stuff, like bands like Mumford and Sons, Daughter. And then one day something just kind of clicked, and I had a very fast, let's say, descent into black metal and all this kind of stuff. And first black metal band that was a big click for me was, same as Marcus, was actually Sayor for black metal, which I think is he's the only other person I think who's ever said that to me. That was the first band. So starting to black metal was actually the atmospheric black metal first, which I think is usually the other way around for people. They'll have the more raw
Right.
stuff, the Norwegian black metal or whatever, and then get into the atmospheric or depressive stuff later. But I think it's kind of put like a little kind of blueprint in my brain about what black metal makes sense to me because I kind of heard it first. Messiah or still a band I've never caught live and just need to at some point. I know they have a new album out next week.
Mhm.
So a few singles already released from it. It's brilliant stuff. Um, but yeah, and then get into metal. Been since then, I've always kind of wanted to play it. That was kind of the point.
Yep.
Um,
This
and
is
wanted to play in a band.
yeah. I had a question for y'all that I had. It was originally for the band Darwin, and I totally forgot about it. But like now that I'm talking another band from Ireland, um, how much was you two pushed upon y'all guys in the households?
In the households, my family have records.
Mine do not.
Uh, but I think everybody who's owned an iPod or an iPhone at some point in the last around 2010 had U2. I'm assuming it was the same in the States. The U2 album,
That was like already uploaded to the
when you got the iPod, it had U2 installed on it already.
yeah.
So what do you say, forced upon? That is what it is. That's what's forced upon. But you hear people talk shit about U2 here a lot more than good things.
A lot of people here hate Bono.
Then it's just not here then. Okay.
But yeah, to be honest, I actually don't mind their music, but they have pretty bad public image here, I would say, in Ireland, at
Oh,
least
wow,
these days.
that's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah. I think there's a lot of other great Irish bands that I don't think attention gets given to as much internationally. Like some of my favorites be like the Pogues or Thin Lizzy.
Thin
Oh,
Lizzy
man,
are
Thin Lizzy is huge over here, huge.
Yeah,
And I mean, talking to and rest in peace, John Sykes. Holy shit, man.
rest in peace.
Uh, he was part of like one of the best eras of Thin Lizzy. Jesus.
But, I think some of them are still going with a kind of continuation project. So it's the was it Black Star
Black Star Riders.
Black Star Riders? Yeah, yeah.
So, for you, once you made it, Dexter, once you made it past Sayre, like what extreme bands you like you found yourself listening to
I mean,
more often?
it was a lot of the Norwegian like 90s black metal, but generally stuff that had more kind of the atmosphere to it always appealed to me more, like Bertsum, those two early Ulver albums.
Yes.
Um, Also, some more recent stuff as well, like Magua. And then again, a lot of just the atmospheric black metal. Sail I already mentioned, but bands like Agalok and
Panopticon.
Panopticon's a big one, yeah, as well for me. Agalok, Panopticon. Yeah, some of these just bands that had a bit more of a flow to them rather than a punch. Now, I love seeing aggressive live death metal bands as well. Like even later, we're going to
we're going to see
grindcore,
vaginal penetration of an amulet with a musty carrot.
Austrian gore grinds band with a lot of good of like Irish bands supporting it as well. But it's a case of I do love this music, but always the music that I feel most close to is the atmospheric.
I never heard of vaginal penetration as a group.
It's VXPX.
VXPX. OXAXAX WXAXMXCX.
The fact he knows that. It's real. If you ever listen to bands like Gutalax or these kind of gore grind bands,
is vaginal penetration female fronted?
I actually don't know. I highly doubt
so.
it. I know they
Be a lot.
butchers outfits on stage, and these vocals that sound almost like a duck.
Oh man, that would be so great if vaginal penetration was a female fronted band. I mean, that'd be like total irony.
Well, it's not just the first two words. It's the fact that this name is 13 words long or something like that.
We just call them the Musty Carrot Band.
Yeah,
The musty carrot man.
pretty nasty stuff. Um, yeah, but they'd be some of the biggest bands for me anyway that I would have got into. Um, and also some like if you look at the depressive black metal genres, kind of got into later as well. Stuff like Life Lover, Nocturnal Depression, big one, Ghost Bath. It's been my favorite band for many years. Who are more kind of towards the black gaze sort of direction.
Yeah.
And then again, the last couple of years has been something that I've been really digging my teeth into. Bands, yeah, like Ghost Bath, Unrequited, Deaf Heaven.
Yeah, Deaf Heaven is a pretty controversial band, and I think when they first got started, um, you had some devoted black metal purists, talking mad shit about them, and I guess that's just one side of it, and then another side of it is they're not particularly black metal. I mean, uh, some of their like the stuff from like um what's it called?
It's the
Sunbather, was really, really in that black metal,
Yeah, I suppose lately they've
atmospheric
gone more
vein.
towards the post rock
Yeah, yeah,
direction. But
and, I really think that, me personally, I said it before, but, the, Ordinary Corrupt Human Love album,
yeah,
I really love that album. I really do. There's something about it. I think they really hit their stride with that one. They pretty much incorporated every element that they pulled in from each genre, and, I respect that album, man, and people give them shit for it, but
I think it's just very forward thinking music.
yeah,
I mean, it's and I have to respect any artist who does that, even if necessarily the songs don't maybe speak to me as much. It's still taking a genre that might be stagnating a bit, and what that album came out about 2016 or
yeah,
2015,
yeah.
about 10 years ago now. And well, people have been playing post black metal for what, at least 10 years before that.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
So
I'm sorry, they contribute a lot to, their music, with, Alcet or
yeah,
Alcet.
Alcest, yeah.
I mean I mean I mean, one could even venture that Kerry McCoy, like, ripped off a lot of riffs from Alcet.
But I mean, they're just taking it to do their own thing with it, really. I mean, even listen to bands now who, I mean, you could draw a line of where is it even black metal anymore?
Yeah.
It's a question discussed, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, still music at the end of the day, and it's taking inspiration from the music that we all love, and it's doing something new with it. Like a big one for me is Sadness. Actually, a big one for all of us in the band. And I think they're based in Texas, in the States.
They might be.
But has like constantly making new releases.
Has like probably over 100 EPs
He
and
had
albums at this
70
stage.
as of last year released,
Damn.
including full length albums. But I think in the last few months he's dropped about 8 albums, just probably since then. And it's a real mix of shoegaze, black metal, post rock, all these kind of genres, and but very blurring lines. Even like electronic music has a lot of influences there in some of the
Oh,
latest
yeah.
as well.
I noticed that lately myself. I've been getting into a lot of electronic music. A lot of things that incorporate, synth, dungeon synth, and like a gothic '80s new wave sound. French Police comes to mind.
French Police.
Yes,
Have you heard?
I have
No,
not.
gonna have to check them out.
check out. They're a 3-piece band from Chicago, and I had no idea that they existed until I attended a post Beyond the Gates party. Um, and they were playing that on the stereo, and I asked my friend, I was like, "Man, what is that?" I was like, "It's so catchy, it's poppy, but it's gothy at the same time." It's everything that I appreciate with like electronic music. Even good, like they play guitar and very catchy bass lines, and it's great. I
A
mean,
lot
I
of music is almost
can recommend.
carried by the bass a lot of the time,
Yes,
and then just
Yeah.
has the guitar as almost just details on top.
yes,
Whereas in metal, the guitars and the bass are often doing much more of a kind of similar
Yeah,
kind of
they're
trajectory.
they're definitely more sort of similar, and metal I feel like as a whole tends to be, well, especially if you go into black metal, it's going to be a lot more treble heavy.
right, yeah, and and depending on what type of drummer you have, just constant blast beat in the back, or
I'm
like
learning to restrain myself.
Yeah.
slow build and all that good stuff, man. I dig that. So how often together the band gets how often y'all get together as a band to rehearse
Every
and
week.
Every week, sometimes it doesn't come to fruition if there's like sickness or something,
Yeah.
but as a
Um,
whole, we're very consistent.
I've been playing us a bunch of live shows as of late?
yeah, I mean, we've only had we've had a short break last year. I was out of the country and didn't really do any shows or anything like that during that time. But I had our first show back 2 months ago now, back in
Uh,
November. Yeah,
yeah, I don't remember the
and
date of it.
yeah, we've got a few shows coming up around Ireland. Um,
Leaving Dublin for the first time.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
um, but so next month we're playing a headline show as well in the Thomas House,
Mm.
which is a venue we have in the centre of Dublin, with another cool doom metal band, Adversary. A lot of Ireland's pretty good for the doom and sludge. Seem to have like a bit of a disproportionate representation considering the amount of metal bands that we have. So,
Yeah, because I know that Louisiana bands are pretty popular over there, like Crowbar and your I Hate
yeah,
Gods and Down, that
yeah. Crowbar are basically a resident band at this point. They're around almost every year.
They're here like more than once a year at this stage.
yeah, in fact, I just spoke to their to Crowbar's drummer last night, Tommy Buckley, and they're gearing up for another UK or European tour. They think he leaves not next week, but a week after.
I think it's with Napalm Death. Yeah.
And and a very young band from New Orleans, Brat.
Okay.
Oh, I cannot wait to see them.
I've never
They
listened before.
they are amazing, man. They are amazing. They're some of the homies from New Orleans, and they were on the show. Like they were like one of my first episodes, if I remember correct. And I just love them. They're just blowing up, man, and rightfully so because uh, the stage presence, the musicianship of everyone in that band is just second to none, man. I'm
Mm.
glad for them. But yeah, so catch them whenever you can.
Mm. I think you've got to get ready sort of for that.
I do, and I'm finally excited to see Full of Hell again because last time I went to see them, I got a fucking concussion in the mosh pit. So
Fuck.
that was during Jarhead Fertilizer, so I had to miss out on Antichrist Siege Machine and Full of Hell. So it's like I am owed a Full of Hell gig at this stage.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. So tell me about the writing process between their last stop, man. Like where the inspiration for the riffs come from. Anyone can take this question.
I feel like riffs just from when we're kind of sitting down, jamming around the guitars, and then when we're like that one and that's it. That one could be a song, and then we bring that to the rehearsal room and build a song out of that.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to
Yeah,
describe it. There's no like sort of set in stone process we have.
but generally, yeah, just bring in riffs and keep jamming it out until it becomes a song that feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, we generally just scrap it and move on to something else, or just have it on the back burner for sometimes a long time. Some songs we put together really quickly in the space of so one of the ones in the EP, "What Remains," we put together in just a week
Hmm.
before playing some shows, and then other ones got developed over like a longer period of time. Like
Violets was like I'd say a year and a half, 2 years in the
yeah,
making.
the Lie Among the Violets.
We started when I was still playing guitar in
Yeah,
the band.
a long time before. So they'd almost been transferred over from our previous project, and we were like, well, we might as well use that in their last op.
Yeah.
Well, because it it's in many ways it's just a continuation. I mean, we definitely went more towards the post-black direction with the
Mhm.
newer stuff that we're writing. Beforehand, it was much more straight up DSBM, like Life Lover kind of thing. But it's becoming gradually just more towards the post-black and atmospheric black direction, I think, as we've kind of gone on.
So tell me about the origin of the name, Their Last Stop. I'm really curious to know, why that name?
It comes from quite a specific story encounter that I had a couple of years ago. So I'm big into hiking and camping and things like that. So I'm always out getting around different parts of Ireland on trips, just spend time in the hills and the forests. And there's one trip I was doing to Wicklow, which is the region south of Dublin. Yeah, must have been 3 years ago now. And went to camp in this nice valley somewhere and saw some tents in the trees. And just out of curiosity, we were planning on sleeping in the same area, so I thought I'd go over and say hi to whoever was sleeping there. And turns out there's this man who'd been staying in the forest for several months. He goes there every summer to kind of escape from society. And he kept chatting about the person that he was with, who we couldn't see. And, for a long time, she didn't show up. And then but he kept bringing her up and then started to tell us more about who she was. And it was a woman who'd kind of lost everything. And he said that he found her in the woods. And this woman was dysfunctionally depressed, couldn't speak, spent all day in her tent.
Yeah.
And eventually came out. I tried to even converse with her. It was impossible. And it was really, I could just feel the darkness of the situation offer. And we're talking to the man further, and he says, yeah, well, he thinks that this place, no matter how beautiful or wonderful and scenic it is going to be her last stop, the
Oh,
last place that she goes before she dies.
yeah.
And so it was just this strange contrast I felt with how, let's say, beauty and darkness together, and just how we all have a place that will one day be your last stop, and that could be anywhere and anytime.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you definitely, in that particular situation, you ultimately you're doing something you love, which is hiking, and you just you build yourself up with endurance to conquer, I guess your own fears of not getting out alive.
It's my own escape. It's my place
Yeah,
to go to um, escape from times when, let's say, I am feeling darker inside, and so it's when I go out there and I was like, well, this is what I feel more alive, more myself.
right.
And that was kind of the contrast as well. This is going to be probably the place where somebody else is probably going to end their life.
Yeah. Man, that's a deep name, man. I like that. That's very, very on brand for your music.
Um, yeah, and I guess it's a story, and I think that's also something that a lot of our kind of songs reflect. All the songs that we have are stories and metaphors for just various emotions and things like that in our own lives, and just trying to tell different, well, express different emotions through different stories and abstractions and things like that.
Yeah. What type of musical individual goals y'all set for yourselves? Um, within the next year, I'd say, if any.
Well, we were just talking about it a bit earlier. Actually, we're in the process of just trying to write and release more music at the moment, and also just get out there and play more shows around Ireland, and then hopefully in the future, UK and Europe.
Is
Um,
there is there any a time where you set any kind of limitations among yourselves in the band, as far as like, hey, we're not going to do this. We'll do this, but we won't do that.
I feel like sort of we're very like realistic, but at the same time it's like if opportunity arises where it's something that feels like it might be jumping the gun, we just all have a discussion together and think whether the risk will pay off or not. It's like everything is very much analyzed, I'd say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
but I think where the project goes in the future is we're all very open to going in many directions. I think we're not scared to get it out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, this is like, I guess one way to say it's like y'all in one era, an era of their last stop. You're not afraid to go in another door.
No, not at all. I think because of the music that we all listen to, we're not afraid to about evolving style or anything like that. We're always playing around with new ideas and new things. It is one era, but it's something that's going to continue on, and it's going to evolve, become something.
Wh- What what uh what do you say is the biggest obstacle right now for y'all as a band to kind of like, get over, like, get to the next phase of the band, I should say.
My work roster.
Yeah. No, I think it's just things about trying to balance other life with band. I think for all of us.
Mhm.
I mean, we're all pretty young, but I think we're all in quite transitionary periods
Yeah.
of our lives at the moment. But it's kind of navigating that with a musical project at the same time.
Mm.
Um, like
What keeps y'all busy during the day? Like, what y'all do for day jobs?
I only work weekends in a gas station at the moment because I am trying to find like a full-time job for during the week, but the market for jobs here is just like horrible. I've applied to so many over the past few months, but it's getting really difficult to actually get even a response from someone.
Oh, that's terrible, man. I hope that changes for you real soon.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest place in the world for jobs at the moment in Dublin.
Oh no.
But no, I'm unemployed at the moment. Was working in as a tour guide before,
Oh, wow.
but taking fortunately enough able to live with my parents this year and focus on my final year in university. So
There you go. What's your focus of study?
I do social sciences, so sociology, politics, media studies, these kind of things.
So you
Uh,
pay are you so you're definitely paying attention to what's going on here in the States then.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to get too invested, but it's impossible not to hear what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a goddamn train wreck.
But best not to talk about politics and religion unless you're
No, 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 no,
yeah
no.
drunk, and then it's funny. But
No, man. I'm here for you guys. I'm really curious to see what y'all have next in store. For the band, because Tommy spoke highly of y'all, and rightfully so. I really dig the EP and the latest release. Is just it's brilliant, man. It's right in my wheelhouse. That's for sure.
really glad you like. But so, yeah, we're just looking forward to making more music and seeing the direction it goes in. I think.
Yeah. Um, I was just thinking about it. Is What are y'all listening to currently? Like, what kind of different music is like tends to inspire you as far as like writing your own music?
Mm. Do you first on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm still just on like a mix of death metal and black metal at the moment. I'm trying to like actually record down all the new albums I'm listening to this year because whenever I listen to albums I just fucking forget them. It's like it goes in straight out. So it's like I'm writing little notes for each album so I'm like, "Oh, I remember what that sounds like."
Right, right.
But who am I listening to at the moment? I'm kind of I'm kind of on a buzz going through like a lot of sort of the more modern classics in black metal. Like I've been listening to a lot of Magua, I've been listening to Marduk a lot, and Cult of Fire, huge one for me.
You ever come across the Fire before?
I think I
Really cool Hindu themed black metal band from the Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
And they have a whole setup, kind of like a Batushka type thing, except it's a whole Hindu temple. Is
Mhm.
kind of the premise they go for. Candle setup and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
They are absolutely remarkable.
But
I'll
having
definitely
more
check
like
that out then.
melodic black metal sounds, kind of like Iwata, kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I could dig that. How about you, Dexter? What you jamming lately?
So, I mean, people who know me well know that I actually listen to a lot of neo folk music, uh, as much, if not more, than the metal music. Even though what I play is metal, I just love listening to a lot of these modern gothy neo folk type bands. Stuff like Rome. It would be my number one artist of all time from Luxembourg, and he basically does neo folk music, which incorporates lots of ideas from history, philosophy, and has just this really great stories throughout his music. And it's all just like acoustic guitar, drums, and like just industrial sounds on top of just singer songwriter type things, but with a very kind of dark atmospheres to it.
Okay.
Another big one I love is King Dudes, who's from the States.
Yeah, yeah. I know about.
You might have heard.
Oh yeah.
Be another big favorite of mine, and yeah, just a lot of these types of artists like Roman and King Dudes. Another big one for me is Death in June, but they're more of the older sounding things, but still holds up very well. I think if I want something that's a bit more kind of rougher and rawer than bands like King Dude and Rome, Death in June usually have very creative, diverse setup happening.
Is there a particular band that the whole band like could just agree on? Like that is something. There's a band that like has everything about this band, something y'all want to emulate. Whereas maybe in sound, performance.
I mean, there's bands. I would say for a long time, it definitely could be Sadness.
I'd say it could be Sadness or Agalock.
Oh,
Yeah, Sadness or Agalok would definitely be two of the big ones. I mean, we'd always kind of what do we stick on when we hang out together?
Sadness or
Sadness.
Agalock.
Yeah, no, it's also it's nice having a crowd that you can throw this type of music on with. Because with my other friends, even other metalheads, they look at you weird if you throw something on like atmospheric black metal sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're just very chill around each other. We can just put this on, and it's like yeah, we all love this.
yeah.
But even other metalheads, when you throw this kind of stuff on, they're like, what the fuck? This is just so sad,
Yeah.
or whatever.
That's like me with French Police, man, as of lately. Like I'll jam some, neo gothic pop music and I just want to like after I listen to it, I just want to play the most like hellish black metal I possibly can.
Awesome. I'm actually going to find them now because you keep bringing them up. French, please. I'm going to
Yeah.
write them down on my phone.
Two of my favorites is Clockman
Clockman.
and Club Vampiro, I believe it's called.
Okay.
I like the sound of Club Vampiro.
Gonna give them a check out later.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna check out Roman. I never heard of that before. That sounds really interesting.
He makes a lot of different music as well. Like I think he's consistently released an album every single year for the last 15 years, something like that.
Damn.
And also an absolute gentleman to talk to. I've met him a few of his concerts. Yeah, he's even done one recent one in Dublin where he's collabed with a lot of Irish traditional artists. And also he's done collaborations with some metal artists on one of the albums as well. Harakiri for the Sky and Behemoth and Primordial. Who is one of the big bands from Ireland for metal.
As far as I know over the years, there was like some turmoil, I guess, and violence between like what is it? Is it Dublin? And correct me if I'm wrong. Like Belfast and Dublin.
Not Belfast and Dublin. Internal conflict in the north of Ireland,
Okay.
especially areas in Belfast.
Yeah.
There's quite a divide in the society because of historical reasons, to do with just nationalist and unionist communities being separated. Nationalists being people who support the unification of Ireland, and unionists being those who support Northern Ireland remaining part of the United Kingdom.
And another part of it is there's like sort of a huge there's with that divide comes religion. Like religion is sort
Right.
of a very sensitive topic in Northern Ireland because there's there's the two sects of Christianity up there, which are Protestantism and Catholicism. So it's like the Catholics would be more on the Republican side, and the Protestants would be more Unionist.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely a very sensitive topic to talk about
Yeah,
in
and I mean,
Ireland. It's very
I didn't want to get too involved with that, but the reason why I asked is because I was just really curious to see if you guys were ever open to maybe like playing with like the likes of Darwin
oh,
and
100%. No,
1,000%.
look, these are just like I think one thing about a lot of metal is it shouldn't be. Ireland doesn't have, in my opinion, maybe some people would disagree with me on this,
right,
is not as divided as several countries in Europe are with their neighbors.
Yeah.
Like we speak the same language. We have very similar lifestyles. The only main difference is that you feel as someone from the Republic. Now, people who live in Northern Ireland, yes, there are of course differences, but you cross the border, things are in miles, and you pay stuff with stuff in pounds. Whereas here we use kilometers, and you pay for stuff in euro. But really, crossing the border from those rural parts on the Republic and then rural parts in the north, um, you can't feel it. But that could be biased. I'm someone from Dublin, and my experiences are quite. I can't speak for those in Northern Ireland fully. But no, of course, we'd love to play in future with bands like who would play with similar styles to us, bands like Dowen, and yeah, others all across Ireland. We don't have that many, I would say, post black bands
I'm
altogether.
actually, because I know Altar of Plagues used to be huge, but obviously they're split up.
They were one big one.
They're absolutely insane.
Really great band. But no, absolutely. I think there's not really like bands from Dublin playing Belfast very often, and likewise that way as well. And yeah, we have even just friends in some bands up north also.
Yeah.
That's
because man, I mean, just from what I heard from Darwin and you guys, I mean, man, I would if I was a local, I would definitely want to see y'all two guys share the stage. That'd be amazing.
would be very awesome. I've seen I forget his name. The frontman of Down plays in another black metal band who I saw the other day as well, which is more kind of old school, dark funeral type thing. It's called
Imperial Demonic.
Imperial Demonic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got them. So no, we're definitely gonna have a try chat with them about it at the gig next week.
Oh yeah, we have to.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, please keep me informed of that. Someone needs to shoot some video or something.
Be awesome.
Yeah. Are y'all gonna attend any festivals this year? I mean, either as a concert goer or try to get something booked.
I'll be returning to Brutal Assault this year.
There you go.
I don't know about myself this year. I still have some up in the air. Hiking plans as well for going to Slovakia. So we're going to see if it's going to allow me to go to Brutal Assault or not this year. I don't know. I've also been meaning to go to Tolminator at some point, which is a new festival in Slovenia, which is where Metal Days used to be located. And I've heard a lot of good things about that. So that'll be another one to be considering. But again, no plans currently. Yeah, but we need to travel to get festivals because in Ireland there's not really any metal festivals. We have one called the Siege of Limerick, which is an indoor 1 day thing at a pub in Limerick City. But that has all the local bands from Ireland playing it, about 30 every year, which is great. It's just the only issue is it's only 1 day. Like it's very short.
It's like Irish metal Christmas.
It happens twice a year, actually. Twice a year.
So it's like Christmas and birthday.
Christmas and birthday. Yeah. No, it's great that it exists though, because it is really that all we have for in terms of festivals. Like now there are some smaller ones around the country, but I don't think they have quite as much traction as Siege.
Oh, not a hope.
It's also great because it's free entry, so it's very just inclusive. Like you get a lot of people down there. Must be easily over 1,000 people in attendance, which it doesn't sound like that much probably for some venues in the States, but for Ireland that's pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, per capita, I mean that so the population of Ireland obviously way smaller than America, but when you go in like that many people in one area, yeah, that's I get it.
especially because it's in Limerick, which is a smaller city than Dublin. I think it has about 100,000 people, and it's the third biggest city in the Republic of Ireland.
I think it is.
Yeah, and it's which is pretty small because in some places, like in England, that would just be another town.
Who wants to first take this question? If there are, God forbid, your house is on fire and you got to take 6 albums, 6 CDs with you, what are the six?
Tommy warned me about this question.
I'll let you go first.
I didn't prepare, but I can try. I'm going to say, I was saying Rome, probably my favorite bands. I'm going to pick at least one of those ones. Now, put this in context, this is all theoretical because I think we're both of the generation where we don't really buy CDs and vinyl. Like I've always had YouTube or Spotify and things like that, so it's not really been a thing. But yeah, so Rome, and I would say honestly, to pick all of them, it would have to be one of the compilations that has stuff across a few of the releases. So he has one which is just called like I can't even remember. It's the Anthology one or whatever it's called, and that has stuff from 2015 to 2005, 2015. So big range of music there. Just to cover my neo-folk base, saying black metal, I have to pick at least one Sayor release, and it's going to be the Aura, the first one I listened to.
Yes.
And then something darker. I'm going to say Ghost Bath, probably Moon Lover. The what was the first release, second album where they admitted that they weren't from China.
Oh yeah,
so yeah, that's three. I've said what? Moon Lover, Rome, and Aura. Something else. Because when you answer this question, you want something with diversity in it, right? It's
No, I know. I want your personal. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be diverse. It's
no. I'm saying anyone who answers this question, you're thinking your house is on fire, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're not necessarily.
What's important? What's something you can't live without?
I mean, you'd be pretty silly to grab.
You're not going to be thinking when the house is burning down, oh, I need to be diverse.
Well, shit, I can tell you right now.
I'm being timed.
Right now, which 6 are mine?
No, I suppose. So maybe one of the earlier, just like things that got me into metal early on. I would say maybe one of the Rammstein.
Oh, there you go.
Something just reminds me of a certain period in my life, in my teens. And I would say probably the Muta, the third one where they introduced all the synthy stuff. Not synthy stuff, sorry, the orchestral stuff for the first time. Yeah. That's 4.
You could do this, Dexter.
I can get back to the next 2. Maybe Marcus can start naming some.
Yeah, okay.
I'd say first I would pick Exercises in Futility by Magua, because that album, Magua were the first black metal band I saw live. I feel like they really sort of changed how I perceived drums as an instrument, because I realized that there's ways to add like orchestration and melody to the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the way that Darkside like dances across the cymbals, I've been mesmerized and I've wanted to get to that someday. Then next I'd say Portal of Eye by Naoble Viscaris. That album is just like perfect. There's nothing I can really do to describe it. It's like a perfect mix of like Black Death progressive metal, and it has lovely contrast with like clean and harsh vocals, and it's just like every note is weaved together perfectly. I'd say Submission and Slavery by Lamp of Murmur. That's a huge one for me, because it's the only album I've ever heard in that style, like with sort of the dark like sort of post-punk gothy sounds and the mix of raw black metal. So that's 3, is it?
Yeah, I've got my last 2 now as well. So
okay,
I can put in. So I think I need one Irish metal release, just to, let's say, remind me of this country has, and there's a lot. So I'm not saying picking a favorite. I'm just picking one that comes to mind that I have been jamming a lot. We have a local band called Horrenda
Uh-huh.
from Dublin, and they made a really good EP, "Think on Your Sins," which just deals a lot with like Irish history, and it's just really it's raw, it's aggressive, but it's also atmospheric and melodic too, which is everything I kind of look for.
Do they
They're,
have they
uh,
have a release on Spotify?
they have a few releases on Spotify, yeah, a few albums and things, and have the most serious live show I think of probably all the bands in Dublin. I would
Please send me a link of that if you don't
Horrendous.
mind.
I will definitely send them on to you. And because I want to remember our own work, I'd also just say RAP.
There you go. There.
Yeah.
He did it. 6.
6 wasn't actually that bad. Usually people say 3. This is very it gives you more room to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why 6 if you don't mind me asking?
My 6?
Why 6? Why
Oh,
is it
I
really,
just at number 6. I just, because everyone deals with a top 5 or a top 10, and I was like, man,
yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna do
No one
something.
will ever think about the sixth.
yeah.
What's that?
No one will ever think about the sixth, and I feel like it's the most thoughtful one because people will come prepared with like a top 3, top 5, whatever. No one will actually have like a predetermined sixth album to choose.
Right. And when like now, like, I guess people who do, who show interest in my podcast, they've caught on. They're like, they come prepared. Either they got their notes on their phone or their top albums like in a playlist. Like, yeah, here we go.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm really curious. Like, I bring that up because I mean, music is such a huge thing to me, obviously. And I'm always curious about what people are feeling in that moment, like what 6 albums are really important to them.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. So
I think my next one, I'm actually going to take one that you've mentioned as well, is Moon Lover by Ghostbath, because that's an album I heard when I was at like a very fucking weird and unhappy point in my life, and it's like I was experiencing emotions so negative, but when I first fucking heard their album, it's like there's no lyrics on it, but everything just spoke to me and sort of clicked and resonated in place.
Yeah, I
And
get that. There's,
oh,
there's a lot of albums that do that for me, man. Like, I could be thinking some complete sideways bullshit, um, and shit. Any given day, it's like one side of my brain wants to sell some bullshit, and the other side is like thinking, you know what? Maybe you should. And I'm like, no, I mean, maybe I'll put on a record instead and just
yeah.
put my mind somewhere else. And usually that comes in the form of, some classic black metal albums by Dark Throne or Isis, the bands, like Panopticon and Oceanic come to mind.
awesome.
So
But please continue, sir. I think you got 1 left? 2 left?
Yes. You told him about you, but Marcus actually has the moon lover tattooed
yeah,
on his leg.
I
I
have a
mean,
Moon Lover
he's not going to
tattoo
strip
right
here
here.
on on the thing. I mean, I don't give a shit. I've seen it plenty of times.
I mean, a few people will see this. I'm just
I'd say next I'd go for actually the last two. I'm going to take the fucking cop out and go based off of my tattoos.
hey, bro. Go
I'd
ahead.
Todbringer by Alenda. I have the tattoo here,
Oh, wow.
and that's just it's an album that makes so many like orchestral elements, has a huge amount of emotion, and it's got a certain it introduced me to a certain level of like it introduced me to like the conjunction of darkness and beauty. It's like sort of it's gloomy but just so like hauntingly beautiful. My last one, I feel like it's only fair I pick a classic. I'm going to go with Pure Holocaust from Immortal.
There you go. Shit. Hey, that album is fucking awesome, man, and rightfully.
I
You
also
know,
have Abath tattooed on the back of my calf.
I'm not gonna judge you for that, sir.
Right. I mean, one day you're gonna see it. One day he's
I,
gonna.
That's a cool dude, man. I met him at chance meeting when I was getting tattooed by Janneke Wies Hansen, who did the Bursum covers, and she also did the Immortal logo back in the day.
Whoa.
And so I was getting tattooed, and he just came to me and said, "You're a brave man," and it just rolled out.
Most ABBA thing ever.
Yeah. Because they went to high school together, apparently, Janneke and Abat. So it was, yeah, that was interesting. He stayed for a little while. I didn't understand a word they were saying because they were speaking Norwegian. But at one point, he wanted to see the arm, and yeah, he told me I was a brave man. So I was like, I'll take it.
Was it because of the tattoo you were getting, or just because of the?
Yeah, because the tattoo I was getting and where it was placed, it was right here.
Oh, so more the fact it was a tattoo rather than what the tattoo was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, lovely tattoo.
And thank you. And it's it's a one of the Viking warriors with the wolf skin with no shield. And yeah. I've been going to Inferno since 2022, and each time I got a tattoo by Janneke, and this is basically her arm.
Wow, that's awesome. So eventually, if you keep going, you'll have the whole way up.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and what it's all just abstract stuff like Vikings and
Yeah. What's this one right
tattoos.
here is actually a black metal scene. There's a Baphomet
Oh,
impaled. Oh shit. Uh, there's
awesome.
the goat,
That is phenomenal.
and then she put a burning church. Burning.
Classic.
Yeah, love her. Love her. Amazing, brilliant artist, and very, very, very generous in nature, man. Like, can't speak highly enough about Janneke. Um, yeah, man. This was a blast, dude. I'm so glad we did this. Get to know you guys and hear about everything their last stop. And really, I'm probably gonna put, with your permission, a little bit of music.
Oh, please
Of
do.
course.
Please do.
At the start of the conversation, kind of introduce people to what y'all about.
I think it's a great way to start podcasts. I think wish more podcasts actually do that, have more actual music in it. Because sometimes I'm listening to podcasts, I'm like, yeah, it's great and stuff, but sometimes I just want to go pause it, check out the music, and then go back to the podcast.
You need the context.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And in a lot of bands, I love doing that because I, I've interviewed some recognizable names here and there, and people know what they're about. But to hear something different from a different country like yourselves, man, and the way the music resonates with me, I think that I wouldn't be the only one. I think that there's an audience everywhere for what y'all bring.
Well, again, thank you so much for having us on, and we're really glad you like the music.
It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I appreciate you talking to me as well, man. We'll do it again, I'm sure, in some form or another. Whether it's because Ireland is definitely on my bucket list. I want to meet, and want to go visit there eventually.
If you're coming by, feel free to get in contact with us. Maybe one day you'll see us at the Inferno Fest in.
That would be the shit.
Yeah.
That would be the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's make that happen.
Make that happen.
All right, man. Marcus, Dexter, thanks so much for being a part of this episode, man. And definitely we'll stay in touch. Their last stop, everyone. Check them out. They're streaming on Spotify. You catch them on Instagram. What's your Instagram profile for everyone back home?
Their last stop.
Their last stop. Make sure
There
you
you go.
spell
That easy. Their
ER.
last stop. All right, man. Well, shit. I will see y'all, and I'll be in contact.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.